Welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of Around Kuwait. We're really happy to welcome everyone in this new episode, talking more about and enlightening everyone about everything that's happening here in Kuwait, especially to know more about the events and more of occasions that's happening in the country itself. Of course, as you all know, we have different varieties of topic, guests, and much more in our episode. But before we head to that, I'd like to welcome with me in today's episode my colleague Sarah. Sarah, welcome.
Hello Hiba, and hello dear viewers. With a new episode of Around Kuwait, we'll be sharing different stories, inspiring different stories in today's episode. But first, let's head to our first headline. What is our first headline, Hiba?
So of course, when it comes into our headlines, as usual, we have three amazing headlines set. One of them, of course, starting with one of the great places, talking more about the events. Also the 9th International Workshop itself that was presented in Kuwait, talking more about civil engineering and all of the updates that's happening in that matter.
Of course, and our second topic will be the Buksha market is back again at Shuweikh Park, where everyone, let's say, would go there, especially when we're talking about this amazing weather in the winter, of course.
Yes, and since you mentioned winters, and of course in February, we know that the fishing winter season is actually happening in Kuwait, and this is something very remarkable, and I'm very sure people are really excited to know more about it. So of course, we're going to continue on that, but first, let's head to our first report, and then we'll be back.
The 9th International Workshop of Civil Structural Health Monitoring, held under the esteemed patronage and presence of the Minister of Public Works and Minister of State for Municipal Affairs, was organized by the Kuwait Society of Engineers. Hosted at the Sheikh Jabir Al Ahmed Cultural Center, this event served as a pivotal platform for both international and local scientists, engineers, researchers, and entrepreneurs. Participants were provided with a unique educational and training experience, delving into recent advancements and the state-of-the-art technologies in smart sensors, wireless sensor networks, signal acquisition and processing, as well as real-time data transferring and management for intelligent infrastructural health monitoring. The workshop facilitated comprehensive discussions, enabling attendees to explore current trends and future prospects in the field. Moreover, it served as an avenue for networking, fostering opportunities for collaboration and knowledge exchange among professionals from diverse backgrounds.
At KISSER, we have carried out several projects with structural health monitoring, and we are actually monitoring some of the iconic structures in the country, such as the tallest tower, Al Hamra Tower, one of the highway bridges, and also some other important infrastructures in the country. We have put sensors at several locations of these infrastructures, and using this data, we determine the safety of these infrastructures using the latest technology, what is known as the structural health monitoring. So we have also developed all the necessary algorithms at KISSER, which are necessary for the monitoring of infrastructures using this measurement.
In that profession, we are taking care of structural health monitoring. So that means assessing the health of a structure in order to prolong its lifetime or ensure its safe use. What we do is we take a look at large civil infrastructure. Could it be water dams, tunnels, bridges, and high-rise buildings? And our goal is to develop sensors, install sensors, and provide early information. Early information for predictive maintenance, meaning that repairs can take place at an early stage when damage is just evolving and not really critical. It's my first time here in Kuwait, and I'm really impressed by the warm welcome and all the high-rise buildings. That's something that we don't have in Austria. We have long buildings, but not really high-rise buildings. And this workshop here is giving new input about the current development in structural health monitoring and how that can lead to more safer infrastructure and more intelligent infrastructure in the end. Every country has its own challenges. In Austria, we have cold temperature, freezing weather. Here it's hot. On the other hand, some challenges are the same, like earthquakes. Earthquakes take place all over the world or expand all over the world. So regarding earthquakes resistance, this is a topic which is relevant to all different countries, and aging infrastructure is also relevant to all countries. And on the other hand, new infrastructure, when we build new infrastructure, we have the chance to embed the sensors directly at the birth of the structure and know what's happening right from the beginning and bring a digital twin to life. one goal of the moderating session here today is to bring different points of view to structural health monitoring. Because structural health monitoring is not just coming from academia or from industry or from practitioners or from the government. It's really taking a look at it from all different sides, and we are taking a look on today the challenges, why it's sometimes slower to being integrated, and we try to make a step forward today.
The presence of esteemed dignitaries underscored the significance of the workshop in addressing critical issues related to civil structural health monitoring. Their support added prestige and credibility to the event, further enhancing its impact and relevance within the engineering community. Overall, the 9th International Workshop of Civil Structural Health Monitoring succeeded in its mission to provide a dynamic platform for learning, sharing insights, and forging partnerships. It served as a testament to the commitment of the Kuwait Society of Engineers towards advancing the field of infrastructural health monitoring on both national and international scales.
And welcome back, dear viewers, to Around Kuwait. We'll be sharing and talking more about our first topic, which is the 9th International Workshop of Civil Structural Health Monitoring in Kuwait. Of course, Hiba, I think these are one of the amazing events when we're talking about civil engineering.
Yes, indeed, and especially when we're talking more about details of the event itself. As you just said, it's the 9th international event that's been held in Kuwait, and of course, the location of the place was also at JAC, which is Sheikh Jabir Al Ahmed Cultural Center itself. And this is something very remarkable, talking more about engineering and their feedback, talking more about the updates that's happening in the industry itself. As we know that engineering is one of the reviving industry. There are lots of things happening in that field itself, lots of new technology that's been added, and I'm very sure people are very, let's say, eager to know more about the updates, to explore in that matter, especially in the engineering field itself.
Of course, and Hiba, when we're talking about this kind of field, a lot of people or researchers would love to have such an event like that, to global experts, and to know more about such events like that. And I think it's really interesting to have events such civil engineering, because we don't have a lot of events nowadays around there. So people holding in this field would help them a lot in finding themselves in civil engineering.
Indeed, and especially when we're talking about civil engineering, it's one of the amazing fields when it comes into engineering itself, because you're talking about the structure of the, let's say, country itself. It's talking more about the base itself. They're very, very, let's say, we have lots of people who like to go into civil engineering believing that it's one of the easiest fields. But when you go to study it more in detail, you find it very difficult. It has different varieties of things. You are building bridges, you are building so many things that need to be held within the proper instructors itself when it comes into the building and to all of the details in that. So I think it's very remarkable to see such great event being held and having that kind of expertise to be presented in the field itself.
And especially when we're talking about from the smart sensors to real time of data analytics, exploring the latest technologies when we're talking about engineering and shaping the civil engineering. And I think in order to have such an event like that nowadays, let's talk more about the new generation. They need such events like that in order to see themselves in what they like and in which field to be in, of course.
Yes, and you know, talking more about that, that leads us to go towards the workshop that's been held, because these are where you get to have that kind of great experience and trying to, you know, explore the field itself, knowing more about the technology and all of the updates that's happening in civil engineering. And I mean, this is one of the remarkable things, is because you have students who are newly graduating from a university within the field itself, and in the last year of university you're going to have more projects. So these kind of events will educate them and enlighten them more to know more about the field and what to use and what not to use, and what are the things that are being there in the industry itself, because you know it's something very challenging. There's always a new technology, a new, even we're talking about AI now is entering the field very remarkably high, and it's very recommended for everyone to know more about it in general.
Of course, Hiba, as you have mentioned also, speaking on the workshops we're having nowadays, I think back then when we used to study back then in the university or in the high school, we wanted to choose our major. We were lost in choosing in which field, or let's say I would lead into one field, but later on I would notice that it's not the place that I want to be in. And I think such a campaign campaigns or awareness, having workshops such as civil engineering and so on is needed for the people out there and for the generation in order to learn and to know more, so they would be able to see themselves in such a field, such a civil engineering.
Yes, indeed. I totally agree with you on that. And especially when we're talking more about, dealing with these events is where you get to exchange knowledge, exchange information, and also try to present yourself to everyone. You're going to see very remarkable company owners, many great opportunities for everyone in the place itself. Therefore, you're going to see expertise. You're going to be one of the, let's say, employees maybe for the future for a certain company or a certain place in that matter. And also at the same time, it's very remarkable to see how well educated the audience itself, especially when we're talking about the awareness. People who attend these events shows how important it is to always be updated and always to keep on mind that it's very important to go educate yourself and enhance when it comes into everything that deals with engineering in general.
Of course, and with that, of course, Hiba, don't forget that the technology is improving and it's changing. And I think with such an event like that, having the people around and the audience around to join such an event like that is really needed, especially to know more about the side of technology and as well how you can experience and your knowledge of such a civil engineering, of course.
Yes, of course. And to talk more about the event, so many people attended it. We had, let's say, distinguished guests talking more about that. So many great opportunities, as we just said previously, attended and emphasized on how important is creating and having these kind of events, especially attaching that and keeping that as an attachment towards everyone who attended it in a matter that it's very important. And it shows how and emphasize how great is that awareness and how great is the employees and the developers who wants to educate the engineers and what's happening, of course, in the field, and how the effort is actually was and still there when it comes into trying to enrich everyone in that matter in a very positive and great way.
And especially to add to what you have mentioned, Hiba, don't forget that the government's support for the technological advancement for such a field like that or such events, especially when we're talking about civil engineering. And I think it's really important when you're having that support, and especially from the government itself, it's really important to give that push and that energy for the new generation and for the people who are really interested, giving them new opportunities in order to try or to study the civil engineering, of course.
Yes, indeed. And as you just said, aside to the opportunity, it's always one of the great, as we previously mentioned, ways in trying to make it more easy for you to reach for the right people. It's very difficult when it comes into trying to, let's say, enter the field of engineering, is to find your proper place, your own status, let's say, when it comes into presenting yourself for, let's say, many kind of companies and leaders in that matter. So these kind of events help you more to get more connected to them, to easen it up for you, to actually find your way and path in order for you to present yourself. It's very difficult to enter a field of engineering and you get interviewed in certain matter of points, but it's very easy when you're out there in the public, impressing everyone with your thoughts, ideas, and engaging. This is how it's shown how strong you are in representing yourself and how strong you are in believing in yourself in this field.
And especially when we're talking about what you have mentioned, also Hiba, let's talk more about having this passion and studying the thing that you would like and you would love in order to achieve more and in order to succeed more, especially when we're talking about civil engineering, because you have mentioned that it's not really easy. And I'm not sure, but I think you have been in such a field, or you tried, or you were into it, but you have changed in such a major, right?
Yes, indeed. Like, I studied that field, but because unfortunately civil engineering was actually shut down in university for 2 years, so I was like, I need to graduate, so I shift the major itself. But it's very great to have this kind of opportunity. Talking more about lectures, let's say, aside to the exhibition itself, it was also being, let's say, having lectures and live sessions being presented in the field, being presented in the event itself. And this is something very important, because this is where you start to exchange knowledge, information, and to be more upgraded in towards what's happening in the field itself. And I think, and I believe, engineering is one of the fields that need to be always up to date, need to be always, let's say, having that kind of opportunity, because it's more of a, let's say, and especially we're talking about the AI, as we just said, artificial intelligence. It shows how important for everyone to, be really ready and to prepare themselves for the future, because it's really becoming, let's say, challenging.
Yes.
AI is there, and I think
Yeah.
it's an opportunity for everyone to be educated.
Of course, as you have mentioned, the challenges, of course, in this kind of workshop, the participants left new perspectives and new ideas addressing in such a workshop like that. The challenges would be, I think, really great having this kind of challenges, showing each other or competing each other, but in a positive way,
Yes.
showing each side of each person in which field they might see themselves, especially again when we're talking about civil engineering.
Yes, and I think the most challenging thing is try to face the development itself. And one of the things that's very important is there are certain programs that engineers are stick to the old method. Like everything is up to date, but I believe, and I've seen it in the field, that there's certain amount of programs that they like to stay with, and they fear of the change, the fast change that we're facing. And they always used to say, since it's working and everything is accurate, why shift to a new program or to a new update? So it's very challenging to face that and I believe this is what happens in different and every major in life. We're always afraid of changing, but having this conferences, events, international events is very important, is to always emphasize of how great it is to give it as an opportunity and give it more of a way in believing that this is for the future and for the new generation, for them to be more, let's say, so that the field itself would be more connected to their life. And this is very important.
Of course, as you have mentioned also, speaking on the new generation, I think the new generation needs to have such a workshops like that in order to succeed more. And as you have mentioned, and you have tried this experience, I think it's really important to have, I think back then, if you had such a workshop like that, I think it would be different and you would be in, let's say, maybe in a different field.
Yes, indeed. And one of the most difficult things that face an engineer, a student, is the amount of projects and amount of work that they have to face in their last year of college. This is the time when everyone starts to feel stressful, tired, difficult to, let's say, sleep, to try to manage to study, try to manage to create the project. And one of the challenging things is to not go to certain stores to help you out in creating your project. And this is where the challenge actually happens. It's more of a nice experience, but I mean, it builds you up for the future. It builds you up into, let's say, entering an engineering field. We know that this field is very, very amusing, very beautiful, but at the same time, reminding everyone this is something, especially about civil engineering, it's more of a field that it interacts with people on daily life basis, talking more about buildings, constructions, the streets, the bridge, everything. It's more of a let's say, structural based engineering that makes everything and ease in everyone's life. So once you see the crowd and you see everything is really crowded, you will immediately contact the civil engineering. Come on, let's have something new. So even one of the new projects that are being held here in Kuwait is building bridges, and I've seen some of the projects. They're very difficult, very scary for the ones who are really afraid of heights. But I think this is something very great to be, let's say, set on point, because we want to solve a problem when you're talking about the crowd itself. But it's really great to see that we do have such great engineers who are thinking for the future, who are trying to, of course, create this kind of solution. And I mean, it's a very great, let's say, let's salute every civil engineer when it comes
of course,
into that.
and especially nowadays, Hiba, I think a lot of people is leading into this field and into this major, and I think it's really important to have such a workshop and such an event to aware the people more and to give them the base. If you have the base itself and you know about the thing you're gonna go through, I think it's really important in order to achieve and to succeed, of course, later on. And with that, of course, Hiba, this was our first topic. We're gonna head to a break and to have our next topic, of course.
Yes, so we're going to continue with the upcoming report that's going to be presented. To know more about our second topic, stay tuned with us.
The Buksha Market initiative in Kuwait has kicked off its third annual festival. This three-day event, held at the Al Sadaqa wa Al Salam Park in Shueikh, brings together over 130 small and medium-sized national youth projects. Visitors can explore these projects through three main areas: the market, tasting, and children's activities. Notably, all proceeds from the festival will be dedicated to humanitarian aid for Gaza, demonstrating the initiative's commitment to supporting those in need. This initiative is groundbreaking in Kuwait, being the first event to focus on and support national youth projects through a significant Kuwaiti festival. It runs as a season from October to March, with events at the end of each month, providing a platform for young entrepreneurs and project owners to showcase their creations and boost local businesses. The festival's unique emphasis on shopping and tasting not only fosters economic growth, but also offers a delightful experience for attendees. Amid the current global challenges, the Buksha Market initiative promotes a message of solidarity, highlighting the strength that comes from supporting one another. This year, due to the situation in Palestine, the event has excluded entertainment and singing, and has redirected its resources towards humanitarian aid. This decision reflects a deep understanding of current global issues and a strong commitment to making a positive impact. In summary, the Buksha Market Initiative's annual festival represents Kuwait's dedication to supporting local youth projects and its commitment to making a positive impact on the world through solidarity and social responsibility.
Welcome back, dear viewers. Our second topic, we'll be talking more about Buksha Market. And of course, Hiba, with the winter and the season is changing, I think families and friends would gather around, especially when we're talking about Buksha Marketing with this amazing weather, having such a different things in this market and in this event, of course.
Yes, indeed, and especially that Buksha Market becomes, let's say, became one of the annual events that people are always waiting when it comes into winter season itself, and especially when we're talking about winter in Kuwait. And I'm very sure, talking more, mentioning that it's more of a zone where you meet your friends, your family, your kids, everyone with different kind of generation, age. Everyone could come and enjoy their time, whether it's by, let's say, exploring different kind of parks in Kuwait, because we know that Buksha Market always locates and pick a certain place, certain area for everyone together. And I mean, it's always crowded, and it's something great. Like, it's more of a crowd where you actually enjoy your time.
Of course, and we need to add, don't forget that it was held in Shueikh Park, and such an event like that, as you have mentioned, it's annual, and I think a lot of people wait for such an event like that to gather around, to enjoy the moment, to enjoy the weather. Even if they're not doing anything out there or buying anything, they would just walk around. It's different with such amazing weather, and especially when we're talking about this market this year, I think it was really different with the colorful banners, of course. Yeah,
I mean, they're always preparing themselves for each new season with different new updates, especially when it comes into the details in that matter. And it's something very great and beautiful, to be honest. I mean, I'm very sure it takes a lot of effort and planning, especially when it comes into the staff itself, trying to create something new and memorable for everyone to enjoy, take photos and keep it as a memory, and wait for the upcoming season. But it's very great. We're talking more about winter season that we're facing, especially that this year the holy month of Ramadan is actually coming a month earlier, so you can see that everyone is excited, at the same time trying to explore what's happening and try to maintain the morning outdoor events as soon as possible before we head towards the holy month itself.
Of course, and to add what you have mentioned, Hiba, don't forget that the booths out there, the local businesses, I think each one of them has their own unique and different touch of having whatever they're selling or they're offering to the people and the audience. And I think it's really amazing when you're having such an event like that once annually or twice to gather everyone around, to see the people around. And I think it's really amazing, especially when they have been working for it, I think for months or maybe a year in advance, of
Yeah,
course.
and you know what's very interesting is that you could actually notice that business owner, they always, let's say, pick the right time for them to join, especially through Booksha. And some of them, let's say, only work on season.
Yes.
Like they only work in, let's say, Booksha market season, because it's more of a trend for them. And it's something, I think it's clever, because people will always want to wait for the upcoming product, something new that's going to happen. Mentioning booths, I really enjoy food. So everywhere I go, yes, yeah, I mean, you have to enjoy food. So wherever you go, you're going to find food, and you're going to find privilege, and you're going to enjoy the weather, the sun, or it's, let's say, for instance, a cloud and rain. There is always a cup of coffee, let's say maybe some bagels, donuts, anything you like to have, and you're just going to enjoy the atmosphere itself, whenever, wherever, and of course with whom you would like to be
Of
with.
course, and the colder the weather, the more you eat. And with that, the market slogan was shop, eat, explore, and play. And I think it's mentioned, and you would feel the slogan from itself, as it has mentioned, shop and eat and explore and play. You're exploring, and maybe your kids are around, are playing around. You're eating because there's a lot of food or a lot of drinks out there that you would try different things, whether it was a local business or so on. And I think it's really amazing to have such a that, especially for the kids, of course.
Yes, and you know, Sarah, what I really enjoy is the homemade cheese. You know, it's very difficult to do, but it's very amusing to see how people manage to do it, and the packaging is very beautiful, and you could, let's say, just go and dive in that matter itself. And even when it comes into olives, like even people are into creating, let's say, olive oil or the olives itself, and you can see so many creative things. And I think what's really interesting and what makes it really great is that it's all homemade, which makes you feel more proud, and you want to, let's say, help the people who are creating this business to glow itself and flourish. So it's very great an opportunity for them to enjoy the moment, explore it itself, and give them a chance, you know,
Of
in the
course,
market.
and especially as you have mentioned, Hiba, they might be small businesses, and a year by year we would notice that in such a event or such like a Booksha market, we're having different local businesses and home businesses. At the first, maybe we would see around just food or drinks around. Now we're seeing different things, whether it was perfumes, food, drinks, clothes. I think they're having the visitors and the people that has their own business are having different ideas, and they're growing more and more with such events, such like Booksha market, of course.
Yes, you know, for me as a person, I like to find something unique, and I believe having this market is something unique. And people not only from Kuwait but also from GCC country are familiar with the season, and also for them to come and attend and to visit is more of a chance for them to buy something new. Something is not there in their market, something is also unique at the same time, and it's very beautiful to see that, to be honest. And one of the things that I really like is also to see the handcraft. You can see lots of great painter artists working in that place itself, presenting their great artwork and presenting their themselves through their pieces that they actually present, and it's very remarkable. And I think one of the greatest things happen is the interaction that you have with everyone, even the owners of the business. You feel like they're so friendly, they enjoy
It's
the
more
time.
into a social community,
yeah.
more than having an event. And as you have mentioned, that having arts around at the beginning, maybe back then, if you remember, if we're having Booksha, it was totally different. It was maybe just, as we have mentioned, food or restaurants around, people just going to eat. But now it's more different. We're having also adventuring, such a things like, for example, toys and games. Kids would play around. So I think it's really nice having family or visitors out there, whether you have kids or not. Your kids would play around, would enjoy adventure, what's happening, and at the same time you would have a cup of coffee, or you would eat or have such an experience in this amazing weather, of course.
Yes, indeed. And I think it's because, as we mentioned previously, that Ramadan is going to enter within a month from now. So I think even when it comes into the event itself, as we said, it's something that happens annually, and especially when it comes into different timing. I think one of the interesting things is people are, finding it more of a chance to present the Ramadan clothing, Ramadan, let's say, setups, so they can actually go and enjoy their time, but at the same time prepare for the holy month itself. And this is something very great in that matter. And hopefully we will see entrepreneurs who are thinking about that, let's say, for the upcoming event that's going to be held. And it's more of an occasion that people would like to enjoy and have it at the same time. And it's more of an opportunity. I mean, having this market, you know, going back in history and comparing it with today, it's very easy, you know, to create your own business, to stand up on your feet and to book your booth and start to tell people to come and attend. And having this market is very great, is because you give an opportunity for people from different kind of areas and location in Kuwait to come and to see what you're doing. Now, what is very great and very important is for you as a business owner to market for yourself in the place itself. It's very challenging.
Of course, and with that, you would know yourself if your business is achieving and succeeding and people would like it or not. It's never too late to have such a business, whether it was a failure or not. So hopefully not. People would support you, and especially when we're talking about local businesses and home businesses, the small businesses. I think people out there, when they have such a markets or such events like that, people would support each other, whether they know each other or not. And I think it's really amazing, because such a market like Buksha Market is helping both, whether it's the visitors to enjoy and to have such a moment in this amazing weather, especially when we're talking about winter. Plus, it's helping the people who has their own businesses, of course.
Yes, indeed. And you know, when I talk about this experience, wherever I find something very, let's say, intellectual for kids, I feel it's more of a success, because you know, as a mother, when you have your daughters with you, it's very, very challenging to try to keep them more in a safe zone to play and enjoy their time, and then at the same time you want to go and explore the market. So wherever you find, let's say, a great a place for kids, you're going to enjoy it as a mother. So it's one of the great places that you could actually go and explore with your kids and never feel that they're going to be more of an let's say, obstacle in your way. We know that kids cry, scream, they want to have everything in the market, but once they see an area where there is let's say, art craft, where there is games, soft play, anything that grabs their attention in that matter, they will immediately go ahead, enjoy their time, and you're going to have more of your space to go and explore and enjoy your time at that place.
Especially
itself.
you as a mother, Hiba, of course, having kids around, you're enjoying your time, and as well you're enjoying with your kids. Your kids are having their time enjoying while playing around, and you're enjoying while exploring. And don't forget, we need to add that the Buksha Markets always have done such an event to support the local businesses and to create and have such a creativity in their own businesses, of course.
Yes. So Sarah, I know I noticed, let's say, when it comes into this market, it's more of, let's say, morning until night, or let's say evening. For you as an experience, like, do you prefer these events heading it towards in the morning, or do you like, let's say, going when it's a little bit breezy in the noon and so on?
I would prefer to have it in the morning, especially when we're having the sunlight, because I'm a person that loves the sun. So I would love to be there around, even if it was not that cold weather. I would prefer having it in the morning days or afternoon, of course.
Yes, you know, and it's very beautiful to go there in the morning. You have like the sun as a natural light for every picture, every place that you want to, let's say, just shoot for it. It's going to be really amazing. And I think in the end, this is more of an event, as you just said and highlighted, that it gathers your friends, family, kids, everyone. And to be honest, I don't believe, I truly believe that it's one of the places you would see someone you didn't see for a long time.
True.
An event that you are going to find, whether it's
actually, you would see everyone. You would see the whole Kuwait is in the one place.
Yes.
And I think this is really amazing and nice to gather everyone around, whether he's living in a fireplace or near a place, in only one atmosphere.
Yes.
Of course.
And what's really difficult is always try to be, let's say, honest when you want to go to Buksha Market, because
stars.
it's not it's not going to
Yeah.
be beautiful once you see your friend, the ones that you actually bail and not going outside
Of
with. So
course.
it's more of a place where you actually gather, and it's more of an opportunity for everyone to socialize and to enjoy their time, and also at the same time try to interact with new people, try to make friends and create more of a connection with your own network, trying to create more of an atmosphere where you start to know more about people, know more about and understand what people like and what people dislike, especially if you are a business owner who are seeking to enter Boksha market. This is an opportunity for you to go and explore and try to evaluate people and what do they like as, let's say, their preference itself.
Of course, and Hiba, I'm sure every Boksha market or every such an event like Boksha, you wouldn't miss it, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, it has to be you and your kids.
Yes, it's an annual event. It's more of a zwara, let's say,
Zwara, yeah.
that happens. Yeah.
Of course. And with that, Hiba, of course, dear viewers, that was our second topic. We're going to head into our report and we'll be back.
Welcome back, dear viewers. And of course, as we know that February is the month that signals the beginning of the fishing season here in Kuwait, especially for the ones who enjoy and like to have this kind of amazing weather, especially when we're talking about February and the cool breezing weather that we have. It's more of a season where people actually starts to go and fish and enjoy and explore that kind of great experience in that matter.
Of course, Iban, and I think nowadays, or let's say the latest days, everyone is trending with such a fishing, as you have mentioned, and I think you are one of them that loves to fishing around, of
Yes.
course, and you have such an experience. And I would like you to tell the people around out there, because I'm against it totally, and I don't like fish, to be honest. But Hiba would love to mention more about fishing, of course.
So talking more about fishing, we know that especially if we're talking about Kuwait and the history itself, I mean, we have a great connection towards the sea, and people used to always find sea as their own first resource when it comes into having the income itself. I mean, people used to go pearl diving and they used to fish, and of course sell it in the market itself. So we're talking about fishing season. It's one of the great seasons that we have here in Kuwait, and I'm very sure people are now, if you go outside, especially we're talking more about the seaside itself, on the bridges, and of course when it comes into the boat itself, we're going to see everyone getting out with their net, with their fishing setup and everything in that in detail, with all of the food, all of the, let's say, hooks with different kind of shape for each individual fish, you know. So it's very interesting to see people and their let's say very well-known and amazing feeling that they actually have in with them, especially when it comes into fishing, you know. Something that not everyone is familiar with in that matter, but if you are a person who really enjoy and love fishing, you're going to understand the sense of February, and of course when it comes into the set itself. And this is something that the families and friends actually, let's say, go more in that matter in detail, and to signify that kind of indication. And especially here in Kuwait, we have families that, you know, it's more of a ritual that they go outside fishing together. Like I have a friend, her father loves fishing, and he takes the mother and his daughters with him, and everyone, you know, like they take off the net itself, or whether it's more of the tightrope itself that they throw with the food and everything. And it's very difficult, but it's very amusing, you know.
And I think back then, Hiba, most of the people that loves fishing used to be, let's talk more about men generation, but nowadays female are reading into fishing, of course, and especially when we're talking about such a fishing or such a field in the sea, I think are going around there and seeing the fishes around, to be honest, I'm not into fishes again.
Yes.
So I'm not sure exactly what happens around, but I see my friends that out there, and you have mentioned, of course. And in this, especially in this season, when we're talking about Feb, I think everyone would gather there, especially the people who has their own boats and having their own equipments, and they would spend a whole day, especially maybe 5 in the morning or 6 a.m. in the morning till night, just aiming for something that they want to catch, maybe.
Yeah. And especially when we're talking about the set itself. You know, we have the market, especially when it comes into the food that they need, or let's say the things that they need to keep it in the hook, because to interrogate fish and of course let them to come more to your setup itself. So even when it comes into the hook, like previously, I thought that people used to buy some kind of fish and they just stick it to the hook, and then I understand that no, there is a certain hook for each fish in order for them to feel more of the environment and settle up, that there's nothing wrong, that there's just another kind of creature and fish that's swimming in the sea, and once they reach towards it, they get into the trap. I mean, this is something unfortunate, but yet again, it's more of an amusing a hobby that people go and relax. You know, people say when you go fishing, it teaches you to be patient, it teaches you to be calm, and it teaches you to be, let's say, more of a person who enjoys the moment itself. Because once we see the line of the net or the hook or anything that you used in that matter, in order for it to start, you know, the wheel started to go and run, and everyone gets really excited trying to pull the fish out of the water, and with all of that temper and the pressure and everyone is trying to grab it all, you're going to see that all of that resistance is coming out from a very tiny fish. And you would be really shocked about that kind of pressure that you were dealing with to take out of water, and to see how beautiful it is when it comes into the power of nature, and how fish, no matter what size it is really strong in water in their own environment, comparing to us. So it's something very great to know and acknowledge.
Of course, and I never knew, to be honest, I thought any fisherman or would like to fish around, they would find any kind of spot to, let's say, find whatever kind of species that they want. But later on, I noticed that there is a specific spots that they need to be in order to have such a kind of which species or which kind of fish they want to catch, to be honest. And I think as you have mentioned, of course, I thought the same thing. You would throw a kind of a fish or a food, and they would catch any kind of fish. And I think the people who are into this field, especially when they're gathering around with family or friends, they would have a group of people, they're competing each other, who's gonna catch the best fish or the best species that they are looking for. And I think they're having such an amazing experience having this competitive, peaceful, enjoying the water time itself. Yes, of course.
Yeah, and you know, aside to that, as just said, we do have rules and regulations, especially even when it comes into what type of fish to actually go and fish around. Because, you know, I'm not familiar about the names itself, because there are a lot and there are many, but in that matter, talking more about in detail, like for instance, I know that if you go to Kuwait Island, it's not allowed for you to actually fish, or even try to be closer to the coral reef itself, because people trying to, especially the environmental sector, trying to maintain the health of that environment. In order for it to be healthy is to have fish around. So it's forbidden, let's say it's prohibited, for instance, to go and fish around there. But you know, one of the greatest things, especially for me, I would prefer not fishing when it comes into a closer area, but to actually go on a boat and to just go alongside to the sea, and then just throw your net and wait for the fish to come. You know, this is where the time when you enjoy it. And we know there is also, as you just said, timing. Like I believe that it's in early morning where people start to go and swim around and try to catch the fish that they want, of course. And nowadays people are not fishing in order for them to get food, but it's more, as we just said previously, more of a leisure time, more of a time where you actually just go and enjoy yourself,
having different adventures, experiencing different experiences. Yes, of
Indeed.
course.
Like before, I used to see that people who go fishing are the ones who are retired. Like they have
Yeah.
nothing to do, no
Yeah.
morning job. They just take.
But
all of
nowadays
their
it's
set.
more into the new generation, and there's a lot of people that are our ages or younger
Yes.
that would go there out there and do fishing maybe. And I think it's more into I have seen a lot into females that are into it, more into males,
Yes.
and they're enjoying it, to be honest.
Yes, and back in the days, my uncle used to go fishing, and he used to take us to the beach, and we used to, let's say, enjoy swimming. And he always used to put his all gears and just wait for the fish to come. And I used to see my uncle in that age, like, is he really that old? And then when I come back nowadays, like he was in my age, and now I'm like thinking about it, like, yeah, it's something very enjoyable, and it's something very relaxing, and it's something related to the heritage itself, and it shows how our ancestors used to, let's say, go to the beach and go to the sea, and we have all of the new equipments, we have all of the new leisure boats that we have. Back in the days, it was very difficult. The boat structure was different. Even when it comes into the equipment, it was also
different, of course,
difficult
yeah.
and different. Though let's say, if we're talking about the environment, it was more healthier, but yet again, it was very challenging for them. So seeing how different and how developed the hobby actually, let's say, become, and how it actually reached to, would make people want to, let's say, address it more of a leisure thing,
Yeah, of course.
something to enjoy.
And I think, especially when we're talking about fishing, it's more into winter times. I think people would have these kind of memories and stories around there. It's more because our summer is more into hot days, so they would
Yes.
prefer into winter days. And especially, I always notice people around my friends that they would have a specific spots, and if they found people around there fishing within the same area, they would find another spot in order. It's like it's their own zone
Yes.
that no one touches it, or no one would take what they are looking for. Exactly.
Yes.
Especially when we're talking about fishing.
Yeah, and especially that a fish sense that there's something wrong, So once they see there's a spot, they immediately will shift to another. And I think also, like, there is a certain information that says the fish memory lasts for 3 seconds, so that it remembers, but then it forgets, and then it goes back again.
Yes.
So I believe in the end, it's more of an, let's say, hobby people enjoy. We don't want to, let's say, ask people to fight on spot, but to always measure and try to enjoy the moment that you are living. If you are a person who is very, let's say, temper, angry, trying to
have this
control
kind
yourself,
of peaceful moment.
Yes.
And especially, don't forget, Hiba, we always say that take care of the environment itself, take care of the beach itself and the water around there, because people are having their own hobbies and would like to enjoy their moments, especially in a clean place, of course.
Yes, indeed. And with that, dear viewers, I'm very sure we reached towards the end of today's episode, talking more about our headlines, talking more about the reports, and of course in details with Sarah. I'm very sure everyone enjoyed watching us. Reminding you, in conclusion, when it comes into the first, of course, headline that we had for today's episode, talking more about the 9th international event that was presented, talking more about the healthy construction and that comes with the civil engineering field itself.
Of course, and our second topic was about the Buksha market, that it was in Shwek Park, where people and friends and family and everyone would enjoy gathering around, especially in the winter days, of course.
Yes, indeed. And finally, we're towards the winter season, when everyone goes and enjoy fishing season here in Kuwait. And I'm very sure people are really eager to experience that if they haven't done that, let's say, before. And with that, we reach towards the end. Hopefully everyone enjoyed watching us today.
Hopefully everyone enjoyed watching our episode today and have learned different stories, of course. But with that, dear viewers, we're going to see you with a new episode. See you soon.